Wow, 2nd of April. So 10 years ago on the 2nd of April, I was on my way to the airport, an hour from here, Newcastle Airport, for the start of the eventual journey to take me to Kathmandu and on to the start of another adventure on that mountain for the 2nd year running. And I can't believe it was 10 years ago. It's frightening. I was 41 back then. In another 10 years, I'm going to be 61 in that same time again. If that's not a sign that life goes fast, I don't know what is, to be honest. So as I'm walking along today on my dog walk with Ella, I'm in quite a reflective mood, quite a sentimental mood, looking back on life, looking back on the steps that I took to go to that mountain in the first place, and the escapades and the things I've done in my life since then. Now, on the whole, how proud am I and happy am I of the life I've lived? 50-50, I would say. I'm proud of putting myself out there to go and try and achieve that goal of climbing the mountain. Come on. The dog's playing up today. But I'm not proud of, I guess, the steps that I took and what I put everybody through to achieve that goal. And I'm probably not proud of things I've done in my life since then, if I'm honest. Now, obviously, had I not have gone to Everest, then I wouldn't have had the book that I wrote, Everest. It's not about the summit. Now, at the time of recording this video, I've just checked my statistics on sales on that book. The book's only ever been available for sale on Amazon because I self-published it 10 years ago on Amazon. Now, that book has sold close to 30,000 copies in all formats. So the ebook, which is by far and above the most popular format, the paperback, a limited edition run of 250 copies of the book that we did in 2018 that sold out instantly. I was really proud of that. I wish and I regret that we didn't do more copies. The fact that I sold 250 in 2 days means that we probably could have sold 500 in 3 or 4 days. Now, when I say we, I don't know why I'm saying we, because I didn't have a publisher. It was all off my own back. So I could have sold 500 copies in about 3 or 4 days, based on how well the 250 copies shifted. So for that, I'm going to be eternally proud. Now they say, or do they say? I'm going to say that some mountains aren't meant to be conquered, but maybe they are meant to teach us who we really are in life. So when it comes to mountaineering, the summit isn't the only measure of success. I don't know, maybe sometimes survival, resilience, and the lessons that we can take home are the ultimate true victories. Well, that's what I'm going to tell myself anyway. Fate whispers to the warrior, you cannot withstand the storm. And the warrior whispers back, I am the storm. I like that. You see, I'm in a reflective mood. I'm recording this video and I'm going to put it up today with no purpose whatsoever other than just wanting to share this moment, because it's quite a reflective date for me today, and I've got nobody else to share it with, because nobody truly knows what it means to what I feel like today. 10 years down the line from when I left to leave my family behind for what I hoped was only going to be 2 months, what could have been the last time, what was very nearly the last time, because I almost didn't come home. If you've read the book, or you know anything about what happened to me 10 years ago, then you'll understand where I'm coming from there. So I am quite, I don't want to say reflective again, but I am quite in a remembering mood. Reflective. Just say what it is. But like I've said, I've got nobody to really share this moment with. I don't really have any friends who I can talk to who would understand what it's like, because most people just thought I was selfish, you know, in 2014 and 15 when I went. And I don't like burdening anybody else with this. What I feel like doing is just going to sit in a pub all afternoon and getting absolutely trolleyed at just thinking back to what might have been. I mean, I get that I'm lucky, I get that I'm still here, and I get that I've been able to live the last 10 years of my life and watch my daughters grow, and I get that that might not have happened. But it still doesn't make me mourn what could have been. It doesn't make me any less sad that I spent 20 years of my life in the pursuit of a personal goal, and it didn't happen. For those reasons outside of my control, I didn't achieve that dream. And I guess I'd be lying to myself if I said that it hadn't affected my life over the last 10 years, because it has. It's defined me in ways that maybe I didn't want to be defined as, but I can't do anything about that. I have to live with that now and just roll with the punches. Get your ball, come on. And just go with it. Ella, come on. So some people say you were lucky you came home, and others say you weren't lucky. You were not so lucky because you didn't reach the top of the mountain. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. Now, in regards to the book, I owe a few people an apology. Now, I had every good intention to try and bring a new version of the book out for the 10th anniversary of the 2015 climb. So that would have been 25th of April, coming up later this month. And I wanted to bring out an illustrated version of my book. I mean, my book's never been, you know, it didn't storm the castle. It wasn't Harry Potter. It wasn't War and Peace. It was just my little tome of disaster and my autobiography about how I put myself in the steps to get to that expedition that became those disasters. And I am, like I've said repeatedly, I am proud of what the book has done. You know, I mean, let's just say now, I brought the book out in November 2016, self-published, as I've mentioned before. You know, the book's done anywhere from 300-400 sales in 1 month to now, more modestly, each month now, the book sort of averages 5 or 6 sales on Amazon, maybe 4 ebooks and 1 or 2 paperbacks each month, and that's where we are now. So I kind of got carried away and thought that was going to be enough for me to form a project to try and bring the book out as an illustrated guide, self-published again, because no publisher would look at it. None did at the time, even though it went to the top of the climbing ebook chart. I mean, even the big outdoor publisher in the UK called Vertebrate, I mean, he snubbed me so many times. And even when I went to them for advice and said, look, I'm interested in putting my book out there as an illustrated version, and I wasn't asking them to publish it, I was asking them if they would help me with the layout, and I would print it basically, which they would have been paid for. They even said no to that. So thanks very much, Vertebrate Publishing. No idea why, to be fair. It's not like I was asking them to take risks. I was assuming all the risk. But anyway, my hand's getting achy. Anyway, where am I going with this? So the consensus being, and the opinion that I formed was, after I'd announced that I was going to bring this illustrated version out, I did get a handful of people who showed a real keen interest. Because the book does have a bit of a cult following. There are people who followed my attempts on Everest 10, 11 years ago, who then bought into the book and reviewed the book very positively. For that, again, I'll always be appreciative of that. So these are the people who showed interest in, obviously, an illustrated version. And by illustrated version, really, it would have just been like a coffee table memento, a bigger book with nice colour, glossy photos. But I really thought I had one more book in me, but and then I don't know what happened really. Maybe a reality check kicked in, confidence, something happened which made me think it wasn't going to happen, and I didn't even want to have to get the project off the ground, sadly. I bottled it, in other words. Could I have brought that book out? Would it have worked? I mean, I get 5 sales a month now on the book, almost 10 years down the line. Could I have justified printing 300, 400 illustrated versions of a book? I mean, let's face it, most books these days end up in shops like The Works here in the UK, like discount bookshops. And I wouldn't wanted to have seen my book in there. I've seen some absolutely fantastic books, you know, superb quality, the way they've been printed, high glossy pages, really nice, you know, gold gilded cloth or whatever, just lovely, lovely books. The Works sells for £5. It's an insult. So in this day and age, as much as I'd have liked to have brought this book out, I have to be realistic. I'm not a household name. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a hop shop mountaineer. I think the chances of the book seeing the light of day would have been slim. So everybody who followed the page I started on Facebook and who got behind by saying they couldn't wait till the book came out, got behind me there, I really am sorry. Well, what can I say? I bottled it. That's all I can say. And I just didn't think I was going to be able to see it through to a successful conclusion. Come on, you. So this is just me today, venting a little bit, I guess. Just a really reflective mood. I don't know whether I want to cry or laugh. I don't know whether they're tears of sadness or joy. I just don't know. But I couldn't let the 2nd of April pass without remembering where I was 10 years ago and how I set out. I left my front door with the whole world in front of me, this whole big ambition of climbing Mount Everest, climbing the highest mountain in the world, thinking it was going to happen this time because it didn't happen the previous year because of the disaster that happened then, thinking it must happen now. Not in a million years expecting what played out to have played out yet again. Hello, where's your ball? Get your ball. Hi. I'm rocking a Jeep sweatshirt today. It's warm, it's about 10 degrees, but there's a little bit of a cool breeze blowing through. So it's light hoodie weather. Now I'm going to put this on YouTube because I'm not really, you know, I don't really have thousands of followers or such. But I do feel as though I want to share my feelings with those of you who might watch this video. Might get 100 views on YouTube. I might get 2 comments that people that might say, I don't know. This is just like a pub talk. It's like I'm sat in a coffee shop and I've got a friend in front of me and I'm just, get your ball, just telling you how I feel. And if 1 or 2 people comment back, then thank you. That would mean a lot to me. Because I'm making out I'm Billy No Mates here. I pretty much am, if I'm honest. I don't have a pub friend, somebody that I can just call on and go and sit in a pub and have a beer with. And I miss that. I'm not an alcoholic, but it's nice to just have that friend or somebody there who you can call on. And I've not had that for a while. Hence why when I get into a state of mind like this, I just want to get it off my chest. And YouTube and you, you are my new best friend. You get to listen to me. And that's it. That's it for today. Yeah, I'm just remembering what might have been and also what became. If you haven't checked out my book, it's on Amazon. It's on amazon.com, .co.uk, .de. Wherever you are in the world, you can pick up a copy of that book. Very nearly, a couple of years ago, it nearly got printed into the Russian language. I had a Russian publisher who was interested in reading the manuscript. But then they read it and obviously thought, it's not what we thought. Those Russians are hardcore mountaineers. I think they must have expected it to be an epic book of disaster, clinging onto the mountain with one finger while the earthquake hit, rather than it just being a working class guy in northern England talking about his commercial expeditions to Everest. So yes, very nearly became a book in the Russian language, but not to be. But if you haven't read it, I'll put the link in my description here. Go and check it out. It'd make me happy if you read a copy of my Everest life story. Oh, one more thing I'll say. People think if you say you've been off to try and climb Everest that you're rich or you've got money, because it does cost a lot of money. That couldn't be further from the truth. For me, I was as skint can be when I went off to Everest. In fact, I was only a few years prior, I'd been working in a climbing shop on minimum wage. I didn't have the money to go off to Everest. I had to raise it. I couldn't really get much sponsorship, so I had to become a bit industrious with how I was able to get $70,000 together. But I did, and I talk about those steps in the book. So if you watch this and think, oh, it's just some other self-centered, rich, egotistical mountaineer who's crying because he spent all that money on climbing a mountain and it didn't pay off, it couldn't be further from the truth, guys. That was as working class as it's possible to be, and not earning much money at all when I went off to achieve this dream. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll be back at some point with another video. It's probably a bit more upbeat than today's is. I am feeling a bit beat at the moment and a bit, yes. You will capture me hosting a YouTube channel through the highs and the lows. You know, we can't all spend our life as happy as a pig in. You know, sometimes life, real life, plays up, and sometimes we're not always happy, and we are reflective, and we are philosophical and deep in thought, and that's how I am today. Right, I'm off to college to pick up my daughter. Keep wondering. Thank you for listening to the end if you have, and I'll see you on my next video.